Alrighty, so I just finished Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, and I had high hopes for this book. I read Ship of Magic, also by Robin Hobb, earlier in the year, and I absolutely loved it. It was such a good book. I loved the characters, I loved the story, I loved everything about it, and it came out of nowhere. For me, only because I had never heard of it. I had heard of the Farseer trilogy. I have heard of. But I have not heard of the Live Ship Trader series ever. So why I started with this one, I don't know. But I did, and I loved it. It was great, and I will at some point review the book. Probably when I read it again, only because I would love to read it again because it's so good. I'll stop talking about it now because this is about Assassin's Apprentice. Anyway, so I had high hopes for the book. It's in a shared world, which I liked because I could see the callbacks or call forwards. I don't know which book came first to the Live Ship Trader series, and I'm excited to see if there's more overlap than just like these brief little mentions of the Rainwild and the Bingtown traders. If we actually get any live ships in the mix. So I'll be looking for that. It doesn't seem like it, but you never know. I don't know timeline-wise when these stories come into place. So the story itself follows Fitz, who is a royal bastard, and the story is told in first person as though old Fitz is telling like the tale of his youth. And first person doesn't usually work that well for me, but I actually really liked kind of imagining it as a grandfather telling us his tale, and that did work for me. I think overall, because it is a little bit more of a ponderous story, but in that if you kind of feel like it's it's being told to you by your grandpa, it kind of works out for that style. So that was nice. I did not mind that at all. So the story follows Fitz from his very first memories when he's like 6 up till, I don't know, he's 13 or 14, 15. He's a teenager, I guess, by the end of the book. And basically he's taken in by the royal family. He's recognized as a royal bastard, and he's essentially given the role, or he's in training to be the future Farseer assassin. So I actually don't know what the kingdom is called. The Six Duchies, that's what it's called. So he's going to be like the assassin for the royal family, and so he's being kind of trained in that. And throughout the book, he's learning these different skills. He's learning how to operate in society. He's learning how to survive in a world that's not very friendly to royal bastards. And it's also following him as he's attempting to learn what's the magic of this world, which there might be more. I feel like there is more, but he has this power called the wit and a power called what is it called? The skill. And he kind of he's born with both. The wit is, I guess, rare and has kind of negative side effects the more you use it. And then the skill is used by just the royalty, and he's kind of propelled into learning this in a rough environment. So it's him trying to kind of navigate the trials of that, and then the story kind of culminates in his first major, assassination attempt, quest thing, and he is kind of goes through that experience and how it goes terribly awry and how he brings it back together. One of the things that I really enjoyed about the live ship trader series, I read the first book, so with Ship of Magic was the characters. They were very real. They felt human. And I think once again with the Farseer trilogy, clearly character work is, one of Robin Hobb's specialties, because I could feel the personality of young Fitz, and then I can also feel the personality of older Fitz kind of coming through the page. Because it does have some little asides by him as he's telling you all this, and then I didn't know how hard it was going to be until it happened. So you kind of feel his personality as well. Not to mention some of the other, players in the game. Some of the villains. I feel like Robin Hobb does subtle villainy very well. You know that they're bad, but they're bad in a very believable way. So there's a couple people who are bad in this book that they're just the worst. It was very similar with Kyle from the Ship of Magic, which he's just the worst. And it just kind of makes your skin crawl whenever they talk and do stuff. And the way they interact is very, you can really picture it. And I think that really helped propel this book forward, because it's kind of a ponderous book. I think that it's probably not the most interesting read I've read this year, but it definitely is propelled along by compelling characters. So that's probably the best thing I can say about the book, is just character work is phenomenal. And I really enjoyed kind of seeing where Fitz's story leads. And I will definitely pick up the next book, because I am interested to see where it goes next. I did find it compelling enough to go forward in the series, and that's, I think, one of those things that I look for when I read the first book in the series. Once I commit to the second book, I almost always finish out the rest of the series. Definitely always. I don't think I've ever read a second book in the series and then stopped. But the first book, I'm always like, all right, is this worth getting the investment into? And I would say yes. I'm excited to see what happens in the rest of the series, so I'll definitely pick those up for sure. But I guess more importantly, this book, I don't have a ton to say about it. Like I said, it's not the most interesting book, but it's also got a good story. And I found that he's a young character, so it's definitely on the, he's a child for most of the book. And with the wit, the second magic that he kind of knows, it's his mentor character, or one of his several mentor characters, is very against it. Says it's very bad. Don't do this, ever don't do this. And Fitz is kind of ignoring that and still does it a little bit, still does it here and there, kind of brings it back, and towards the end of the book. And it's helpful. It helps him out, it gets him through things, and I'm just really interested to see where the negative side of this comes in, because it's so relentlessly pushed that this is bad, that there must be some future setup or artist payoff for that. So I'll be interested to see what that is, because it definitely is like it was treated much more in this book like a setup for payoff later, because nothing really happens as a result of him using the power, and I'll be interested to see what happens to him in the future. Like I said, this was a good setup book. I am interested in reading the next two books in the series, and it'll be interesting to see what comes of the results of the actions that happen in this book. I'm keeping it very vague, because I don't want to go into any real spoilers in this. So, should you read the Farseer trilogy, Book 1, The Assassin's Apprentice? I would say I would definitely recommend it to people who kind of like ponderous books. and are also interested in, it's definitely got that like classic fantasy medieval vibe. You know, you're in fiefdoms or duchies or whatever they are, and you're you got the kings and the queens and the, you know, it's got a unique world in a very familiar setting. So that's nice. It's always nice to trot those familiar paths. And also, it's, like I said, probably most importantly, a character-driven book. So if you really like characters you can connect to and can, you know, and feel very real, this is a good, it's a study in well-written characters. So that would be my recommendation. So if you also found the character relatable, tell me who your favorite character was and why down in the comments. Love to see. And that is it. So, all right. Thanks so much.